Good morning, Angela. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Good morning to you.
Well, welcome. I appreciate you being here.
Sure.
Now, are you on a computer? Can you also see it okay?
I'm actually using a tablet, but yeah, I can see. Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, sir, perfect. Great. I just wanted to make sure that the audio was okay, that you could see it okay. I'm going to give
Yep.
it a few more minutes to get
Okay.
started.
All right. Sounds good.
Where are you joining us from?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, awesome. Welcome. And are you in real estate or what kind of business are you in?
I do real estate and I do promotional products as well. So
Oh, what a good tie-in as a realtor.
yeah,
What's
you're
the
right.
what's the hot promotional product right now?
Uh, well, most in real estate, like anything that notebooks, pens, just the stationery type thing.
Sure.
Yeah, and any type of gift for their clients. So,
Great. Now, do you have any experience working with AI or are you getting started?
um, I do have some experience with it, but
Great.
it's evolving so much. So it's a lot to learn. Can't keep
Every
up.
day. Every day it seems like it's
Yeah,
changing, which is a
yep,
good thing, but it's just hard to keep up.
it is. It really is. So I have to use AI to tell me what to use for
How to keep up
AI.
with AI.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we're joking, but it's true. I'll go in a lot and ask, what are the capabilities of X, Y, or Z and
Hmm.
teach me how to use the latest thing.
Yep.
So what's the weather like up there?
Actually, we were right at 80 yesterday, believe it or not, and I think we're going to be close today. So,
I do find it hard to believe because I'm sitting here in Central Florida and I think it's like 50 or 60 degrees right now.
oh my goodness.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
with warm weather early comes storms, so that's expected later this week. So,
Sure. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
for sure. Well,
Yeah.
again, it's just a couple minutes after. I'll give it a
Okay.
couple more minutes.
Okay.
I'm super excited. This is the first of these that I've hosted, and I'm looking forward to doing more.
Okay.
One of the books I read recently, um, the author talked about his framework is learn, do, teach. And
Mm-hmm.
when I read that, that really resonated with me because I've always felt like the best way to learn is to teach
Hmm.
someone else.
Yeah.
And I do really enjoy learning, and I've definitely enjoyed engaging with AI because I feel like it takes skills and experience and just amplify.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So um,
Yep.
I'm really excited about that. Uh,
Yeah.
Now, what type of real estate do you practice?
I residential, some commercial, but primarily residential.
Yeah,
So,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. And how long have you been in real estate?
Ah, 20 years.
Actually, me too. I started around the
Oh,
same time.
okay.
My first experience in real estate was working for Pulte Homes. Um, So I wasn't directly in the real estate side. I was, in
Hmm.
the accounting group, but and then I got my license in 2009 and have
Oh,
worked in a number of capacities. But for you,
yeah.
so 20 years, you've experienced some ups and downs for sure.
Oh, yeah. I was one of the HUD agents when all of that was
Mm.
going on with, yeah, in '08. So, yeah, that was a very busy time.
So
Um,
I still list some foreclosures, so my primary
yeah.
business is a title company now, but
Hmm.
I still have a handful. We list for a handful of people, and I just can't believe it. All these years later, there's still some
Yeah.
listings to be had.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well,
I'm going to do one thing real quick. I'm going to turn my video
uh-huh.
off. I got to
Okay.
adjust something here, and then I'll jump in. So just be
Okay.
patient for one more
All
minute, and
right.
we'll get going.
Thank you.
Okay. Nope, that's still worse. Hold on one second. I'm just going to adjust my blinds. I don't know if you can see the stripes on my face from the
I
blind.
do,
All
sunshine.
right. So one more second and then we'll jump in. All right. Well, I guess there we go. Maybe that's a little bit better. Okay. Awesome. We've also had Carrie join us. Carrie, I don't feel any pressure to do so, but do you want to unmute and just introduce yourself real quick? I will take that as Carrie's going to listen along with us here as we get started. So I just wanted to welcome you guys so much. I thank you so much for joining me. What we're here to talk about today is something I think as small business people, we can all relate to the idea that we started our business for freedom. We started it because we wanted more time, more flexibility, maybe more autonomy, more decision-making powers, but overall to be more free. And yet, many of us, myself included, we end up feeling like we're trapped in the day-to-day operations of the business. So, like for me, my story, I started my own business in 2009. And when I was just working on my own, I did not see the need to document any processes or even worry about systems because it was just me. And then when I hired my first employee, they sat right next to me. So again, it wasn't a big deal that things weren't documented, that we didn't have any systems, that things just were kind of loosey-goosey, as it were. And even when we hired the second employee, not a big deal. But by the time we started hiring the next few, they weren't working out. And I kept thinking, what is wrong with these people that they're not working out? But after the fifth person didn't work out, I thought maybe it's time for some introspection. And what I found was the issue was we lacked process. Now, a lot of us work as, solopreneurs or, sole business owners, and you may think that systems and process, just like I thought, you don't need them when it's just you. But what I've learned since then was that, when you don't have a process, it leads to inefficiencies because you're having to relearn and redesign the processes every time you encounter them. You're potentially providing inconsistent results or products to your clients from a lack of a systemized approach to delivering your service, and you're dealing with more frequent fire drills. So, as you can see, what I'm going to talk to you about today revolves a lot around what is the key to freedom from your business and from that day-to-day operational trap. It's systems and process. And I know that's like boring, like that's so boring. Here's the good news, okay? It really is the path for you to be free from your business. And it's easier now than it's ever been in our history. And I'm going to show you how to do it much, much, much easier by leveraging AI. What we're going to do today is I'm going to walk through a live demo documenting a process and then optimizing that process. I'm going to give you the prompts that I use, and I'm going to provide you with a custom GPT that helps you with some of the steps of this process. Before we jump in and I share my screen, there's a couple things I wanted to go over. One is I just want to give you a disclaimer. I'm super excited about the opportunity to lead you in this and participate in this with you, but I do want to say it's my first webinar, so if you could have some grace if I have technical difficulties or my screen sharing isn't up to snuff. I think I'm going to do a good job of conveying the data, but please, bear with me. I wanted to make sure that, if you want to jump in, you can raise your hand. There is a heart button at the bottom of your screen that has the word react under it. If you click on it, then you'll see there's a button for raising your hand. And if you do that, I'll then pause to take your question. As I go through the material today, I'm going to take pauses to take questions, but also you're welcome to raise your hand. And then I see that you're already using the chat, which I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on. But at a minimum, When I pause, I'll take a look to see if we've got any questions in the chat as well. The next thing I wanted to go over were some basics covering AI and some of the tools we use today. I'm going to be sticking primarily with ChatGPT, but we'll also talk about Perplexity and we'll talk about Google's deep research. Just to set the stage for what each of these does, ChatGPT, if you haven't messed with it, it's sort of to me, it's like your home base of AI tools, kind of where you get started. It's a very powerful chatbot that can generate ideas, help you draft content, analyze tasks. There's a free version that's very robust. The paid version does give some better responses and removes some of the limitations on your volume of uses over the free version. You might use chat to help you write emails, create processes like we're going to do today, generate follow-up lead scripts. I mean, I could spend the whole, 30 minutes to an hour talking about that, just all the things you can do with chat. But that's chat. Perplexity that we're going to use or talk about additionally is like a research assistant. I can tell you for me in my day-to-day, Perplexity has effectively replaced Google. I almost never Google things. I go to Perplexity and search them. And the reason is Google gives you all these great answers or great information, but you have to engage in each piece of information to figure out what's the best and kind of bring context to the answer. Whereas Perplexity provides you context and citations. So Perplexity is very good. Google Deep Research is like having a research assistant. You go to deep research, you tell it what you're looking for, and then it scours the internet to research the topic. And it'll tell you, hey, I searched 58 websites. It took me 8 minutes, but then it gives you really, really robust results. It'll give you like a research paper. I use it a lot of times to help inform chat of things I'm trying to do. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in just a minute. Um, so now let's jump in. So what we're going to do today is we're going to document a process using AI. And as I indicated at the beginning here, this is the key to your freedom as a business owner is having really solid documented processes. The process that I'm going to document today is the lead capture, lead nurturing, and lead conversion process. Now, I'm in real estate. I know a number of our participants in our different avenues to participate are in real estate, but this has a broad application. So let me start by sharing my screen. Share. So what you can see here is that I am uh, in chat here. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Wonderful. Thank you. Um, Let me move something. Perfect. All right. So I'm in chat. And I want to generate a process for lead conversion. This is where I like to start. So I want you to think about as we move through this, I want you to think about this engagement with AI, this chat that I'm going to have with ChatGPT as though we're cooking. Okay, we're cooking a dish. And we're going to start with a base recipe. And that's what I think of when I have chat generate a process for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a prompt. And as I indicated before, or I don't know, no, I may not have touched on it. So what I'm going to use is what's called a mega prompt. So a prompt would be, hey, chat, produce a lead generation process for me. That would be a prompt. A mega prompt, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here, is a very long prompt typically. And all of this is one prompt, and I'm gonna give this to you so you don't have to try and recreate it or anything. But it gives chat way more context and direction as far as what we want. And so I'm in my mega prompt here document. I'm gonna highlight the prompt, and then I'm just gonna copy and paste it directly into chat. So I just copied all of this into chat, and I'm gonna submit this prompt to chat. And so in my prompt, I've directed it to ask us a couple questions. It wants to know what industry we're in. And an SOP is a standard operating procedure. So it's asking what industry should a standard operating procedure apply to? What specific process do we want documented? So, oh, and I apologize. We do have some more people joining us. So let me pause for a second. Hey, welcome. Oh, okay. I'm going to give them a second to join. And again, I apologize for the clunkiness. First webinar here. So thanks for your patience.
Hey,
Welcome to our new
Tony, I
participants.
just audio just connected.
Wonderful. Yeah, welcome. And I apologize if I kept you waiting in the waiting room for a long time. As I've shared a couple times here, this is my first webinar I'm hosting, so
Oh, good for
your
you.
patience is much appreciated. And we've got one more that's joining. And then once she gets connected, then I'll just do a quick highlight of what we've discussed and then jump right back in. Hey, Ingrid, how are you this morning?
I am doing good.
I apologize if I left you in the waiting room for too long. I didn't see that we had people in there, so my apologies. I will do better next time.
It's okay.
So I want to catch you up. We had a couple people join just now, and so where we're at is, I opened by talking about how as business owners, we can all kind of relate to the idea that we started our business to create freedom for ourselves. And in the course of starting our business, we've actually built ourselves a bit of a prison when we feel like we're trapped in our day-to-day operations. And so what we're doing today is, it's my strongly held belief that the key to unlocking your prison of day-to-day operations is to document your processes. And then I'm going to move you through that as well as how we then, once we've documented the processes, how does that unlock our freedom? And so where we are right now is I just started working with chat and I copied and pasted in a mega prompt. And I'm going to share this prompt with you all. So you don't have to worry about making any notes or taking anything down from the prompt. I'm going to share it with you. It'll be yours to keep and use. And the prompt, once I've entered it and put it into chat, it asks us a couple questions, wants to know what industry we're in and what process we want to document. And so I'm going to tell it that I am a real estate broker in Central Florida. I have a team of about 15 agents, and I would like to document our lead generation, nurturing, and conversion process. And I see I misspelled a word. The good news is chat is very forgiving and will accept my misspelled word. So now that I've submitted that information, it's thinking and it's creating for us a process. Again, what I shared when we began is we're going to think of this process as this is the base recipe of a dish we're putting together. And we're going to start layering in different flavors and things to improve it. Because right now, the main issue with this process is as good as it is, it's not my process. It's just the process that chat's creating. I like to start here because I feel like it's a best practice or it's creating a process that's likely going to follow best practices. But I don't find this to be good enough because it's not accurate to my business. It's basically a broad and generic um, process that chat has found through its research. So it's going to give us great structure. I like the structure because it gives us a purpose. It tells the scope. It tells us who the stakeholders are. And then it gives step-by-step procedures. But I want it to be specific to me. So to do that, I need to tell it what my process is. And I don't want to sit here and type that out. And so I want to share with you I apologize. We got another person joining us. I won't rehash everything. Um, I want to share with you a method that I learned from the book, Buy Back Your Time. The author of Buy Back Your Time created something he calls the camcorder method. And so the camcorder method kind of tells his age a little bit, right? He did it when you had to use a camcorder. But the idea behind the camcorder method is that you're going to utilize tools to document your process by recording yourself doing your process. And so there is a tool called Loom that I'm going to show you right now that you can use to make screen recordings, just like the one I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to hit play, and you'll hear, I believe, you'll have to tell me if you can't, but you'll hear me just talking through the process. Came in on March 9th. I'm going to go ahead and see this. So I'm going to drop the lead name in here to name, and I copied and pasted the email and got a phone number, and then it asks a lot of other stuff, but I mean, generally speaking, that's what I do. So I'm literally just talking through the process as I do it and recording it as I go. There are a number of benefits to do this beyond getting this into your AI tool. If you record videos on Loom, then you can create links to the videos that you can put into your training documents. So you would have videos that you could, when you're training a new employee, say, hey, you can reference this video in the future to see how I did this. But the other thing that it's good for, and specific to what we're doing here, is, oh my bad. Right, hold on. Let's end the recording. What I want to show here is you can extract the transcript of everything that you said to it. So this has a transcript of everything I talked through in my process. I can download this transcript, and I'll just do it as a Word document, but you can do it as a PDF, you can do it as a Word document, you can do it as a bunch of different types of files. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to upload it into chat, and chat can read it and help me merge the process that chat created with my process. And then that'll give us a chance to review and determine, hey, is this good enough? Is this what we are doing or should be doing? So I'll show you how that works. There's this plus sign in your chat. And when you click on it, it gives you the option to upload from your computer. And you can see here that we have a Loom transcript. And in that transcript, that's what I just recorded with with Loom. And I'm just going to upload this. I'm going to say, here is my current process. Please compare to the process you created and let me know where you see places I can improve my process, and ask me any questions you have. So now I'm giving it my transcript, and it's reading it. So it says reading documents. And again, you can upload PDFs, you can upload photos. So that's not that you would do it in this case, but like if you had a photo that you wanted to use in a chat and have chat help you understand anything about the photo, you can upload photos. It's really incredible what it can do. So now it's giving me the key differences in our process here and making suggestions for improvements. And so it's saying leads come in from multiple sources, and then lead tracking is inconsistent. What? No way. Nobody ever is inconsistent with their lead tracking, right? No, of course, yes. So it's inconsistent, and it's suggesting all leads should be immediately entered into a CRM. So it's giving me all these great suggestions, but now that it mentions the CRM, I haven't told it what CRM I use. I haven't told it what transaction management system I use. So my process is going to be somewhat limited. So what I want to do now is, I said that we have our base recipe, which is our generic process that we asked chat to create. And we can think of that as like industry best practice process. Then we added in the spices of our own process. And now let's put in the protein, we'll say. We're putting the meat into the sauce, and we're going to tell it what systems we use. And this is where we have kind of two options of where to go with this. We can ask chat to include our systems. So what I mean by that is chat has a crazy robust knowledge of things in general, And so I'm going to tell it, I'm going to say, I need to tell you that we use follow-up boss for our CRM and sky slope for our transaction management software. Can you please add this? Can you please add these into the process and include any, goodness gracious, I apologize, any opportunities to improve or augment our process? And look, I get it. I love coming on these webinars and having somebody say, here is the silver bullet to save your process, to save your time, to save your money, to lose weight. But that's a great analogy. This is like weight loss. We all know we want it to be easier, but it takes some level of work on our part. This is the work on our part, but the good news is with AI, it's much easier. I remember when I first started to try and document my processes, I would start and I would just get bored with it and move on. So this just makes it so much easier. So now that I've asked it to layer in some follow-up boss and sky slope processes or improvements, it's writing this. So the mode that we're in right now is what's called Canvas. So when I told it I wanted to write something, Chat just said, "Hey, let's write it together," and then Chat moved into Canvas mode. And so what that does is, oh, sorry, let's see here. That allows us to collaborate with Chat and say, okay, like I'm reading through this and it says, okay, lead nurturing process managed in follow-up boss. And then lead conversion to active client managed in follow-up boss and sky slope. So it's adding that information in. If I wanted to make changes to the document, I can come into this space over here, this prompt over here, and just say, can we add more about the process to change a lead's status in follow-up boss? So I'm waiting for it. It's still working. That's, you can tell because the little stop sign is here and then it's continuing to write, but it's almost done. I'm going to wait till it's done writing. And then, yep, so it's done. It's going to change over here to the little arrow that'll let me submit my chat. And I'll just wait for it to finish up, although I don't know what it's doing now. So, but you can see that by just telling it that I use follow-up boss and sky slope, it greatly improved our results here in the process manual. So now I'm going to hit enter on this process, can you update to tell more about the process to change a lead status in follow-up boss? So the beautiful thing about this is in the past, if you weren't using the Canvas feature, it would say, oh, here's the change you asked for, and it would just give you that change as its own segment, and then you'd have to copy and paste it back into the document somewhere. By using Canvas, it puts it into the document automatically without you having to do anything. See, it's revising the document as it goes here. Why don't I pause while it's doing this and see if anybody has any questions? If you do, you can raise your hand or you can just feel free to mute yourself or you can put it into the chat. So I'll just take a minute here. And if anybody has any questions, go ahead and shout them out. Then I'm going to catch up on where we're at and if make sure we're continuing down this road. Okay, so what we've done so far is we identified a process, lead generation, that we wanted to document. We had Chat create a generic best practices SOP from, standard operating procedure from our mega prompt that I'm going to share with you. Then we used the camcorder method to record our process. We uploaded that transcript into Chat. And then finally, where we got into so far is that we then added in our systems. So the next step I would take would be I'd review this and make sure there's nothing in here that doesn't match our current processes. I'd make any adjustments that I felt like, and excuse me, the beautiful thing about chat is you chat with it. So if you have questions about what's going on with it or whatever, you just continue to chat with it and work through it. So like if we were to say, I see that you are suggesting that we say anyone buying within 30 days is a hot lead. Can we change that to 45 days? And so now if I hit enter, it'll go through and it'll update that. So you can go back and forth with it, ask it questions and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to let it move through that update. See, it's making the update right here. And then when it's done, I'm going to show you the custom GPT that I built for you guys that I'm going to share with you when we get done. So once you've documented your processes, the next step that you want to take is to make that process, you want to optimize the process. You want to optimize the process by applying a framework I learned from a friend called Eliminate, Automate, and Delegate. Eliminate. So you want to look at the process and see, is there anything I'm doing that I don't need to do? Is it maybe something we did that no longer needs to be done? It's become obsolete because of a system change. Or is it something we used to do for one particular client that's not here anymore? Or is it simply something that doesn't the cost or the time doesn't outweigh the benefit? So you want to eliminate things from your process. The next thing you want to do is you want to look at your process to determine what in my process can I automate? We live in a time where you can automate just about anything. I mean, it's incredible what you can automate. So you want to look at what can I take in the lowest hanging fruit or any repetitive tasks that you do over and over and over again, and they never change. And a lot of times you'll find that your system, whether that's your CRM, your transaction management system, or any other system, it will have opportunities for you to automate. For example, Follow Up Boss has smart plans that allow you to create, what's called drip campaigns, so that when a new lead comes in, they automatically get hit with information from you. And I would encourage you to set those smart plans up in a way that you're, providing value, providing value, providing value, providing value, and then asking for the business. So you've eliminated what you can, you've automated what you can, and what's left over, you want to delegate what you can. So when you look at delegation, and I can predict that there may be some among you that are solopreneurs and potentially thinking, well, I'm by myself, who am I going to delegate to? Well, there's a number of different ways for you to pursue delegation. You can outsource, to either, like a VA group, either hire your own direct virtual assistant or hire a group that will give you time, someone's partial time. You can hire people on services like Fiverr or Upwork. There's a lot of different ways for you to delegate. And again, to reference the book, Buy Back Your Time, he has a great framework for this for you to think about. If you think about it, a lot of your tasks can probably be outsourced for $25 an hour or less, and in some cases, much less. What he talks about in the book is calculating your buyback rate as an entrepreneur. Basically, what is your rate per hour? And so if you could be out there doing business development tasks that bring in $100 an hour or $500 an hour or $1,000 an hour, if you're doing $25 an hour work to try and save money, which is what we all do, we think, I'm going to save money by doing this $25 an hour task. You're actually costing your business the difference between your buyback rate and what it would cost you to outsource that task. So, your buyback rate is, let's say it's $100 an hour is what you can earn if you're out doing, customer facing work. If you can hire out the work for $25 an hour, you're costing yourself $75 an hour by not delegating that work. So the first step is document your processes. The second step is to go through the eliminate, automate, and delegate. That is what's really going to buy you freedom. And so to assist with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy our process and then I'm going to come over to my custom GPT. So I built Eli, the eliminate, automate, delegate expert. And so we're going to eliminate, automate, and delegate our way to freedom with Eli. So I hit my little start button, and Eli is going to tell us what our process is going to be from here. So he's asking us for the process, and then he is going to apply the EAD framework with us. So I'm going to copy in the process that we just created. But like we did before, we could also, download that process and upload it as a PDF. Or if you have existing processes, you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of what I just did. You can upload them into Eli just natively, just if you have it as a Word document, a PDF, whatever, you can upload it into Eli. So I'm going to hit enter or the arrow button, submit, whatever terminology you like to use there. And so now he's thinking through what our next steps are. And so he's given us some feedback on our process. And he's giving us an overview of the eliminate, automate, delegate framework. And then now he's applying it, and he's telling us each step where he's finding ways that we could potentially. Now, this is obviously just suggestions from our custom GPT, but where we could potentially eliminate, automate, or delegate tasks. So he's talking about here, remove underperforming lead sources after quarterly reviews to focus on high converting channels. Avoid over-reliance on multiple lead sources without tracking ROI. I know I'm guilty of that at times where you spend marketing dollars but don't do a great job of tracking which ones are working. So that's a good suggestion. Automate, set up Zap or API integrations to directly funnel leads from Zillow, Realtor.com, Facebook ads, and landing pages into Follow Up Boss. That's a great suggestion, and I think Follow Up Boss even has an easier native way to do that. Same thing, automate email and SMS follow-ups for new leads using follow-up drip campaigns. So as you can see, it's making suggestions throughout our process here to tell us how we can better eliminate, automate, and delegate. What we would want to do is we'd want to go through the suggestions and see, okay, this sounds like something I want to do. And what I would do, if it were me, is let's say we wanted to pursue this Zap or Follow Up Boss's built-in automations to instantly assign leads to agents based on predefined rules, location, price range, urgency. So I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to bring it down into the chat and say, I am interested in learning more about this. Can you explain this and then create a step-by-step guide for me to implement? And so I'm going to hit enter and see what he has to say about that question. So he's explaining to me that Follow Up Boss allows me to automatically assign leads to agents. And then it says I can do it either through the built-in automation or a Zapier automation. And so I'm going to come through here and look, and it's going to tell me you're going to log into Follow Up Boss, click on admin, select lead flow. I mean, I got to tell you, I have learned so much since I started engaging with chat because if I have a question anymore, I just come in and say, can you tell me how to do this? And so he's going to go through and give us a step-by-step guide. And then we could follow this to implement, or again, we could delegate this to someone, hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork to help us with this implementation. So that takes us through setting up the process. So we started by creating a generic process in chat. Then we layered in our process that we documented using the camcorder method in Loom. And Loom was what I chose to use. You could do it through Zoom, Google Meet. There's a number of different avenues through which you could use that method. Then we layered in our systems that we use to further enhance that process. And then finally, we fed the process through Eli, the eliminate, automate, and delegate custom GPT. Now, I would say our process is done. I would recommend that you begin a process manual that you either keep in like a Google Doc or in a system like Tranual or something, like that. But like, I use Google Docs, although I'm exploring methods to put in a more like user-friendly kind of chat scenario where someone could come in and instead of having to search for a specific process, they could say, "Hey, I have a new contract. How do I enter it?" or something like that. Now, before we move into our Q&A, I wanted to talk about a couple of what I would call pro tips. And so, what I like to do when I'm documenting my processes is I go to Perplexity. And Perplexity, as I mentioned in the beginning, is what I use now instead of Google searches. And when I'm creating processes for a business, whether that's for myself or for a client, I want to get um, the best like roadmap I can. I'm a huge proponent of the idea of begin with the end in mind from the 7 habits, and then you if you don't know where you're going, how you may end up somewhere else. The old Yogi Berra quote. So what I'm going to ask Perplexity is, can you? Okay, so I like to give the context of act as a process and efficiency expert in real estate. Please create the ideal process manual table of contents. And I'm going to tell you why I tell it to do the table of contents. I could tell Perplexity or I could tell Chat, hey, write me a process manual. Okay. And it would do it. But it would not be as robust if you do it section by section. So I like to ask Perplexity for the best practice manual table of contents. Then I take each section and write that with Chat, and I just copy and paste and say, okay, let's start looking at property listings, listing acquisition process, property valuation guidelines. And so this helps me make sure that I don't forget any essential processes that we might need to document if I was doing it on my own. The next sort of quote unquote pro tip that I want to share is using Google's deep research. And so deep research is a function in Google Gemini. And just to be super clear about it, you don't have to use Gemini. Chat has a deep research mode, and so does Perplexity. I have started to really like Gemini's. One of the reasons I started using Gemini's instead of Chats was Chat had a limit of 10 searches, I think, a month under the plan I'm on, which I'm on like the $20 or $25 a month plan. So in Gemini, they have deep research, which I can come in and say, please. And I always say please. I don't know that we have to, but like who knows? Maybe when AI takes over the world, it will remember how nice I was to it. So please write or please research on automation best practices using follow-up boss and SkySlope. And so what it's going to do is it's going to sit here and it's going to come up with it's going to formulate a research plan. And so it tells me what its research plan is. And I'm going to hit start research. I mean, just to be frank, I've never edited the plan. I have trusted it with its plan, but it does allow you to edit. But see how it says starting research? And I'm going to let it start running. We're not going to see the whole thing, although if we're on long enough after this is done, then I'll show you what the results are. And so it says it's starting its research, and what it's going to do is it's going to populate with all the websites that it's going to search, and it'll search 20, 30, 40, 50 websites. And so it's almost like you hired someone to. So it's got here it's got different integration websites it's looking at. It's looking at SkySlope and best practices and follow-up boss and automations reviews. So it's researching all of these websites. It includes YouTube videos and it's going to come up with super robust research document. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. I can bring it back up. If we decide that there's something on the screen that we want me to share. Um, but I just wanted to, before I jump into Q&A, I'd love it if you want to share in the chat. What's one process that you'll document first? And I would encourage you that before the end of today, start by recording yourself using the camcorder method. So if it's, hey, I want to document my contract entry process. Well, when you have a contract to enter, flip on the Loom camera, and again, it's just as easy as sharing your screen. You don't have to have a camera, by the way, to record you. You can just record that screen as you go through it. If you want help with systemizing your business, I'll throw my what you call it, link tree or the Calendly link. I'm sorry for the poor, not knowing the right language. So the link where you can book a discovery call. I'd love to chat with you, catch up with you, find out more about your business. So definitely feel free to book a time for us to get to know each other a little better and see if there's any way we can help one another. And then I just want to offer you the encouragement that every big business started by documenting one small process, and AI gives you leverage, but you have to start. So I want you to take that first step today, and I know that you will be happy you did so in the future. So with that, I'd love to open it to any questions. Like I say, you can raise your hand or you can simply unmute yourself and start talking. And if we have more than one at a time, then we'll figure that out. So, what questions do you guys have? And don't limit it to just what we talked about today. I am happy to discuss any and everything with you. I'm going to assume
Okay.
everyone's. Oh, yeah, please. Hey, Cardwell, how are you?
I'm doing okay, man. Look, I came in late. I had fires to put out this morning. And the next thing I looked up, it was 10:15. Uh, so the question is to always ask at least once during these things, is this recorded?
Yes, sir. It is recorded, and the replay will be on my Facebook group, which I believe you're a member of.
Yes, sir.
Unstuck. Yes, sir. I love seeing you on there. And in fact, just to be sure, I'll throw the link on here. If anyone is not already, I would highly encourage you to join on our Facebook group, Unstuck. It's AI tools and strategies for real estate and entrepreneurs. And I like to share things on there that I learn, that I find out, just anything. We'll put it on there, to help everybody grow their businesses. So, but yeah, the short answer, Cardwell, is it's recorded, and I'll be putting the recording up later today on the Facebook group, and I'll send it out as a link as well to this group.
Okay, great. As soon as it's available, I'll start watching it.
Well, and if you have any questions, just let's connect, and I'm happy to kind of walk you through it. It's not the sexiest topic in the world. I didn't, and there's a reason I didn't lead in my invite. Not that I tried to bait and switch anybody, but I feel like if it's like, hey guys, let's document some processes. I don't know how many people show up, but I have learned over and over again that nothing frees you from your business faster than having thoroughly documented processes, whether you're a team of 1 or 100.
Yeah, well, I definitely have to get into that. I'm a realtor as well with KW in Princeton, and
Awesome.
also an entrepreneur, I'd like to call myself, trying to become a digital nomad.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so yeah, I really wanted to get with this. I was just so mad that I had so many things I had to do.
It's life, man. It is.
Yeah, it's the business.
That's right.
All right, so I'm looking forward to getting that recording, and we'll touch base probably in the next couple of days then.
Yep, absolutely. And Eric just posted, and I appreciate it. I'm gonna share it right this second on the chat. But I was also going to include it in the link, or I'm sorry, in the replay, or not the replay. Goodness, the email I send out. So, but here it is right here, and this is, like I said, this is Eli. He is the eliminate, automate, and delegate expert.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
I mentioned the book, but there's a couple books in this area. I love reading, and my brother gives me a hard time because I use reading to describe reading or listening, which he says isn't the same, but it's the same. Um,
Yeah.
Buy Back Your Time is an excellent book. on this subject of, kind of how to make the most of your time as a business owner. And then the other one that I highly recommend is The E-Myth Revisited. It's a great book that kind of talks about going from being the doer to being the owner to running a business. So those are my shameless book recommendations. Well, I guess it's not shameless. I don't make any money off of that, so we'll take back the shameless part. What else? What else do you guys want to touch base on before we wrap up? I'm
Hey Clay, this is Mark. Hey, how are you?
good, Mark. How are you, sir?
Doing excellent, thanks. Is there a certain way you keep track of all the different AI tools that you're using? Because there's so many of them now.
Yeah, no, I would be embarrassed probably to look at my credit card statement. Like, I'll say it this way: if I gave my credit card statement to my wife and she were to ask me what things are, I probably wouldn't be able to answer all of them. Now, that's not to say I'm spending $1 trillion, but I just feel like I've signed up for like 15 different $10 or $20 a month services. I mean, I can tell you that the main ones that I'm using are chat. So every day I use chat extensively. Every day I use Midjourney extensively for image creation. I use Perplexity multiple times a day, and I use Gemini multiple times a day. Everything else I use a little more sparingly. Like I use Flux to create AI images of myself. If you haven't already, you guys should join the AI Prompts for Entrepreneurs group on Facebook that's run by Jonathan Mast. And I think a lot of us connected there, but I would, if not, I can't recommend his training enough, and he does or his group enough, and he does great trainings on how to create your own model to use in Flux. There's a few others, but those are the ones I primarily use. I mean, the short answer, Mark, is I don't really keep track. As far as the custom GPTs, I do try to keep, I have a Word document with the ones that I use a lot because it gets kind of cumbersome, with them in you'll have your custom GPTs, like you can pin them. Here, I'm going to share my screen again. You can pin them over here into the left little sidebar here, but you get so many of them, that it's hard to like find them in here. I almost find it easier to have my Google Doc where I can just search real quick for what I'm looking for. But as far as keeping track of the different ones, I don't do a great job of that because like I've signed up for a couple things that I just didn't work for me, and I try to remember to cancel them. I don't always.
Yeah, that's the challenge I ran into.
Yeah. What I honestly, so I was going to tell my bookkeeper, hey, if you can make an Excel spreadsheet for me one month just to show me. And the other thing you can do, this gets into should you or shouldn't you upload certain documents, that is, but you could mark through your credit card number and your identifying information and potentially upload your credit card statement and have chat analyze it for you. And this is where I'm not the expert on this. Claude may be better. I've heard that it's a little better on analytics. I've also heard people say that the new Grok is amazing. I haven't really engaged with that. Long story short, you probably could use AI to help you figure out, what all am I engaged with here.
Gotcha. Well, appreciate you sharing the ones you mainly use. Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to. Yeah, I love.
Hey, Clay,
use.
this is Croy. What
Oh,
do you
hey, Croy.
suggest about creating an SOP when you don't know what the full process for the SOP is? So, for
Yes.
example, I'm looking to hire a VA to help me get on podcasts, the guest, but I
That's
haven't really done that much myself other than with people that I know that have a podcast. So, how do I create an SOP when I don't know the best process for finding, for figuring that out?
Do you guys want to do that together real quick? I mean, we could just take a few minutes and I'll show you how I would approach it.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Awesome. All right. So I would start with deep research, and I would come in and I would type in here and I would just say, please. Always, I say please. I don't think you have to say please. All right. So please create a research document on the best practices for And you said your goal is to become a guest on podcasts?
Yeah, I'm looking to become a guest on podcasts regularly.
Yep, for booking myself on podcasts. And is your goal to grow your profile, generate leads, just sort of a broad purpose of being a guest?
It would be to where I'm allowed to would be to give them get a freemium so that I could build my email list.
Perfect. That's great. That's great context. Thank you. To put my freemium offer.
Like you today, I'm a little tongue tied.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I think you did pretty good. All right, so I'm going to copy this because I'm going to put it in chat as well because I don't know that we'll get this result quickly enough. But this is where I would start, and then I would take the result of this, and then I would upload it to chat. But what I'm going to do, just for the sake of expediency, is I'm going to start a new chat. And I'm going to say the same thing here because it's going to be a little bit faster. Now, I'll turn search on. I'm not going to turn on deep research for the same reason that I'm saying we may not get everything we need from Google. But I'm going to tell it here, create this research document. And so it's going to create this information. And then, because I'm already in chat, I'm going to tell it, I am considering hiring a VA to assist me with getting booked on podcasts. Can we create a SOP? We probably want to say an SOP, but please don't be the grammar police, especially with me, because I commit many crimes against grammar. Can we create an SOP for this purpose? And Croy, I'm doing the same thing right now, meaning I'm wanting to do something, hire a VA to help me with stuff that I've never really done before. And this is exactly what I did was I just went in and started chatting back and forth to say, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Is this something that, am I on the right track? Whatever. I actually don't ask if I'm on the right track because it always says, oh yeah, man, you're the smartest. This is the greatest idea ever. But I engage with it to go back and forth and help me design the process.
I actually started this the other day, but I didn't think to start it in the way of creating an SOP for someone else.
Yeah,
I was just I was doing my research to figure out, what's the most efficient way to find podcasters to get on their thing. Because once I find the podcaster, getting on is pretty easy for me. It's just, how do you find it? How do you reach out? And, without spending hours on Google.
Well, the other thing I would tell you is there's a book called Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson.
Sure, great book.
So you've read Expert Secrets. Are you familiar with the Dream 100 concept?
Yep, sure.
So I would base and you may have already done this. I'd basically create my Dream 100 podcasters, but then I would probably throw the list into chat and have it make suggestions maybe on best contact method or prioritizing, put them in order of who you think I line up with best or whatever, just trying to help it, have it help me sort through that Dream 100 and target them better. But yeah, this is what I would do and then have it. So it's creating the SOP. And then I would read through that and like say, oh, dig into things maybe I don't quite understand or whatever until I understood it. And then I would say, what automation or delegation opportunities are available? What tools should I consider for collaborating with my VA? What risks or pitfalls should I consider as I move forward?
Those are great questions.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I've made a lot of great mistakes in my life. That's what teaches you great questions.
I have a custom chat GPT for improving my Spanish. I speak Spanish well, but there's so many nuances I don't know. and it's just like it is bringing me into the weeds. Like,
Oh,
holy,
what a great application for it, though.
super! It's absolutely fantastic.
And so yeah, so this comes up with automated processes may lack the personal touch, data security, sharing sensitive information, over reliance on automation. So I would just kind of go back and forth with it until I got to a point where I was pretty comfortable. Whenever I'm hiring somebody, and I especially learned this when hiring VAs, I mean, it's true when you hire anybody, but when you're hiring someone, the more prepared you are the day they start with, here's every step that you need to take, here's every system that you're going to use, here's every
This
it
is a
just
reminder.
it just makes it so much
Just let me know
easier
if this is done.
to bring them on and to get them up to
This
speed.
is a reminder.
And so that's, like we have a new hire that's going to start in a week and a half, and they just accepted, and it's like, now we have to switch gears from, our hiring process to now it's okay, the onboarding process and the training. And when I hired my last new hire a couple months ago, it was made so much easier by using chat to like pull together. I had like a 32-page manual for her when she started, and it covered every single thing that she was ever going to have to do. And it made the process so much easier. But
Well,
hey,
this is important too, for especially if you're outsourcing to the Philippines, because as that culture is really good, really, really good at following directions, but generally speaking, they're not so good at thinking outside the box. So if you give them really great SOPs, you're going to have great success with them.
absolutely, and that's how I learned the lesson the hard way. I hired my first VA many, many years ago, totally unprepared. I said, I'll figure it out when they get started.
Me
And
too.
no fault. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, me too. I did the same mistake.
And no fault of hers, and no shock now that I understand better, it didn't work out. So here's the link to that chat, Croy, and anyone else that wants it. Hopefully you can access it so that you can get that information. If you have any issue with it, you can just shoot me an email. My email, and I'll put it in here just to make sure you guys have it. It's clay@imclaylayman.com. Does anybody else have any questions or anything you guys want to discuss before we get off the phone? The phone, because I'm 1,000 years old. I meant off the chat. Well, great. Hey, everybody, I am so, so thankful for you taking this sort of initial journey with me on this webinar. Hopefully, it provided you with some value. I look forward to doing these more frequently going forward. I love learning new things, and I like to solidify that learning by teaching others. So thanks again for doing this. I will be following up with an email to all of you. All right. Hey, Croy, I saw your email. What I'll do is I'll get this. Can you, well, I got your email, right? Because you signed up for the event. So I'll send this information to you. And in fact, I'll just include it as a link on that email I send to everyone in case anyone else wants to kind of read through that. Um, and that's it. So I'll talk to everybody soon. If you haven't already, please join the Facebook group. That's where I'm going to post the replay in addition to putting it in that email. Invite people into that Facebook group, because the larger the community, the more value we can all get out of it. And everybody have a great day. And until next time, I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Clay. Appreciate it.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
awesome. Thank you. We'll
Yeah.
see you guys soon.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Cardwell. We'll talk to you guys soon.